What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is June 21, 2022. I am JD from New York, as always, coming to you from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Tuesday afternoons, wherever you may be. John Laurinaitis is fired. John Laurinaitis is as good as gone. Who is his replacement as head of talent relations? Our good old buddy, Bruce Prichard, now has another job within the company. How? I don't know. What a fucking disaster WWE has become. Also, Sasha Banks news. There is a legal, finalized statement for Sasha Banks released. But where is it? Where is it? When is WWE going to announce it? I got news on that right here on OTS. And also, Adam Page rips into Booker T and his terrible opinion of Adam Cole after Booker T body shamed Adam Cole on social media yesterday to the IWC, which is now ripping him apart, and justifiably so. Booker T has one of the worst opinions in all of pro wrestling. We'll go over what was said and what Adam Page said today on Twitter in regards to Booker T and him body shaming Adam Cole, baby. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. If you guys missed any of the content in the last 5 days or so, stemming back from Friday, where we did a double dip live stream in the afternoon about the Vince McMahon investigation, and then Friday Night SmackDown. We did an extra on Saturday. We did Monday Night Raw last night. If you guys missed any of this great content, go and check it out on the homepage right now if you need any more Off the Script. And make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum on today's OTS Extra. Bruce Prichard. He is the interim head of talent relations for World Wrestling Entertainment. John Laurinaitis. People power. Finished. Gone. Fired. They placed him on administrative leave. That's as good as fired, in my honest opinion. Following the start of WWE's board investigating Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, Bruce Prichard has been named interim head of talent relations for WWE. PW Insider first reported the news as the company issued a memo to talent that Prichard is now the head of talent relations going forward. According to the memo, pending the conclusion of WWE's Board of Directors' internal investigation, Laurinaitis has been placed on administrative leave. Fired. The memo also promised that Prichard would provide a seamless transition. It's funny because he doesn't really provide a seamless transition in anything he does on a week-to-week basis. Laurinaitis was not backstage for Friday Night SmackDown. He was not backstage for Monday's Raw. This is according to PW Insider. Now, both Fightful and Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reported that talent aren't exactly delighted to have Bruce take this role as head of talent relations, with Fightful reporting one source joked that Vince only knows 3 people in reference to Bruce Prichard and John Laurinaitis having several roles. Despite having a very large team, he always goes and gives these 2 geeks most of the power. Another talent said they had multiple texts from others in the locker room concerned because if they wanted time off now for any reason whatsoever, you now have to ask the person who is effectively your filter between creative, who, let's be real, is creative, and Vince McMahon, who, let's be real, is creative. So you're only going to Vince McMahon light to ask for time off, only to get the answer that you would usually get from Vince McMahon. That's exactly what Bruce Prichard is. Bruce Prichard is Vince McMahon 2.0. There's no difference there. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Live, Meltzer said, a lot of the talent are not particularly thrilled by this news, and the decision was not necessarily well received. Fightful noted in the same report that a unanimous feeling backstage in WWE is that Laurinaitis will not be returning to his role, and that he is as good as gone, with several people backstage celebrating his demise. Bruce Prichard has returned to the company in 2019 since then, and Prichard has worked as a senior vice president. He is also the executive producer of Raw, SmackDown, and head of creative for NXT, and now he is head of talent relations. I got this news last night live on stream. I didn't know what to think of it. I was so fucking floored that this man, Bruce Prichard, that we all fucking say should be fired, ultimately gains more and more and more power in WWE as the years go on. Now, I don't really get this move. First of all, let me throw this out there for you. If this was a Stephanie McMahon move, which I know it's not, why would this be looked at as a good thing? All you need to know is that this is not a move that Stephanie McMahon made. This is the move of a CEO. Stephanie McMahon is not the CEO. She's only CEO in title. If I have anything on this, I'd bet the fucking house, the dog, the wife, the kids, the fucking cats, everybody, I'd bet that Stephanie McMahon would never in a million fucking years make the decision as CEO to make Bruce Prichard the head of talent relations. This is a Vince McMahon move. If you need to know who's still running shit in WWE, this is a Vince McMahon move. This is only a move a CEO would make, and it's not a move made by Stephanie McMahon. Additionally, I don't even understand how this is the right move. I can't look at this as anything but terrible. Why would you want to give this one man more power in WWE when he is the fucking absolute poison in the swamp that needs to be drained? It was him and Laurinitis that need to go. If I said there was any moves that Stephanie McMahon could possibly make in the WWE as interim CEO, it would be that of draining the swamp of him, Laurinaitis, Ed Koskey. Get him out. Get him out. Meanwhile, we're now promoting Bruce Prichard. He can't even do his fucking one job correct. You're going to give him another job to do? He can't write on Monday. He can't write on Tuesday. He can't write on Friday. He's nothing more than a Vince McMahon fucking clone who's about 100 pounds heavier and a lot more fucking, why are you giving him more power when he can't even do his original job correct? You want to add more on top of his plate? Listen, man, if I'm Conrad Thompson, I'm fucking celebrating this shit, man. Why do you want to have a podcast with this fucking clown when he's got all these other fucking things that he's got to take care of? He can't even do his one job correct. You want to give him yet another job on top of everything else that he has to do. I don't understand how this man continues to gain more power when he is the fucking bane of the company's existence right under Vince McMahon. He is the poison in that swamp. You gave this guy more power. That's like me going to the fucking doctor and the doctor telling me, yeah, we cured you of herpes, but I gave you fucking gonorrhea. Or I cured you of cancer, but you have fucking, AIDS. I don't understand how anybody is celebrating or happy about this move. This is a shit move. If anything, this man needs to be fucking out, just like John Laurinaitis. It's amazing to me how, if you look at the current state of WWE television and how unprepared they are, Lesnar coming back on Friday, they're redoing a 9th match with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam because they were not prepared at all for when their very, very minuscule top of the card went down with injury. Cody and Randy Orton went down with injury 3 weeks right after one another. They got nobody now for Roman. The only one there is Drew McIntyre, and they're saving that for the United Kingdom. They got nobody but Brock, so they call up Brock. They got nobody else in fucking place to even stand as a credible opponent to Roman Reigns. And the same thing applies, comically, the same thing applies to the managerial office and the managerial front of WWE. They have nobody in place to take the fucking role of John Laurinaitis because they think they're untouchable. Vince doesn't trust anybody else. He wants his own fucking people in there. If you guys need any more fucking fact or any more in your face that Stephanie McMahon is not running the show, why would you think this is a Stephanie McMahon move? This is a Vince McMahon wanting to keep the same fucking team or at least some of the same team in power because that's how he boasts himself up. This is a shit move. They're not fucking prepared on TV. They're not prepared in fucking the front office. This is a fucking comedy show. An absolute comedy show. And the talent You know, I'm glad. I'm glad that John Laurinaitis is gone. I will be fucking even more over the moon when Bruce Prichard is inevitably fired. That day is coming. I don't know when it's going to be. It will happen. Vince McMahon, if he ends up going down in a fucking blaze of glory and all this, I'm going to be the first one to fucking throw everybody in the community a big ticker tape parade, man. Goodbye. Goodbye. We're on our way to having a better WWE if Vince McMahon goes down. If Vince McMahon goes down, you can bet your ass that Bruce Prichard is fucking going to be gone too. They're not going to keep him around. So right now, this is a fucking comedy move. It's a comedy move. He can't even do one job correctly. You're giving him another fucking job. The talent don't fucking like him. They don't appreciate him. They don't want to deal with him. They didn't want to deal with John Laurinaitis. But everything just keeps going around and around and around and around. And the same people are still in power. They remain in power. And those people, some of them, like Bruce, are gaining more power. It's amazing to me. It really is amazing to me, man. So I will keep a close eye on this, but Bruce Prichard is now the head of talent relations in WWE, and I know some of that locker room, some of them might not care, some of them actually do care. They don't like this. They don't like this decision, and I don't see how anybody could when you got Vince McMahon, who you probably never even fucking see or hear of, and you got Bruce Prichard, who's always going to say, yes, Vince, yes, Vince, yes, Vince, yes, Vince. And then when you ask him something, let me go to Vince. Let me go to Vince. He's nothing more than a yes man. This man is not a leader. Bruce Prichard is not a leader. Bruce Prichard is not someone that you could fucking talk to and get a straight answer out of. He's got to go to Vince. Yes, Vince. Yes, Vince. Can I suck your cock? Vince, can I fucking tickle your asshole, Vince? That's the type of man Bruce Prichard is. And theoretically, if you want to think about this even further, this was a position held by Paul Levesque. Bruce Prichard took Triple H's role as head of talent relations. He is now in charge of every single fucking talent and scouting talent in the fucking company. And if you think that is the right way to go about it, man, my God, I'm giving myself a fucking eye twitch just even thinking about it. Jesus fucking Christ. This is one of the most shit moves that you could have possibly ever made when all Stephanie McMahon needs to do is drain the swamp. Sasha Banks. There is conflicting report right now on Sasha Banks. There is a legal agreement for her WWE release that is not yet finalized. Now, Dave Meltzer talked about Sasha Banks and the rumors of Sasha Banks on TSN's Sunday Night Main Event. Meltzer said that the last thing he heard about Sasha was that they were still in talks about her release and wouldn't be shocked if she got her release this week. This contradicts some previous reports stating that she was released last week. But either way, it looks like she won't be returning to a WWE ring. Meltzer said, as far as I know, the only thing that I've been told is that they are negotiating it right now. I don't know that the negotiation is final. I know that it's been written in media reports, that is. The last I asked, which would have been 2 days ago, it was not final, but it wouldn't shock me if it happened this week. That is how it was described to me a couple of days ago. Where it is at this moment, I don't know. End quote. Meltzer says he wouldn't be surprised if there was something included in the agreement where both sides don't say anything negative about the other. WWE had a sign on Friday Night SmackDown. I don't remember what it said, but it was visibly seen during the Raquel Gonzalez match on Friday Night SmackDown where she qualified for the Money in the Bank. I think it said Sasha Crew for Life. I remember seeing it vividly live on Fox watching SmackDown, and it was reported that WWE, in their replay of this on their social media and on their YouTube, actually blanked out the Sasha Crew for Life sign and only showed the guy holding up a white piece of fucking plasterboard or fucking cardboard for the sign. So I don't really understand why WWE is going to these lengths already with Sasha Banks and nothing is finalized. Sasha Banks apparently is still listed internally on the roster for WWE. She's still on the WWE.com roster page online. And if it's something where she is done with the company, she's still under contract. She's still under contract right now with the company. And I think WWE, right now, they're keeping all of this the way it is because technically she's still under contract until the deal is finally agreed upon and signed by both parties so that she may go on her way. Whether that still includes a 90-day non-compete, I don't know. I would assume not if the lawyers are involved, because Sasha Banks is not going to let that slide in her contract. If she wants out, she's going to get out, and it's not going to be tagged with the 90-day non-compete. I know a lot of people are sick and tired of this story. I know a lot of people are just waiting for official confirmation. I do have, and I said this about CM Punk. A lot of people are like, oh man, well, how do you know? How do you know? I had people reaching into my Instagram private messages. What the fuck do you know, man? CM Punk is not coming back. I'm not going to believe it till I see it. And CM Punk came back, and it was one of the greatest moments in all pro wrestling history, with him returning to pro wrestling in AEW after 7 years of being away at the United Center for the first dance. I said it then. I'm pretty confident in CM Punk showing up. And I know this is not one big troll job. And out of all these years where we were talking about CM Punk, he's not going to show up. He's not going to show up. There's a possibility, but he's not going to show up. I said it, and I was pretty confident that he would. I'm saying the same thing here about Sasha Banks. I am pretty confident that Sasha Banks is finished with the WWE. I'm pretty confident that this woman is done with wrestling in a WWE ring, and I do think that she will be granted a release, and it's going to be one of the hugest, biggest, fucking absolute most pathetic losses in WWE history. It really is. They are letting a trendsetter go. Somebody, and I don't want to repeat myself, somebody that they didn't truly value, and they're letting somebody like this go who is an absolute game changer for women's wrestling. If you don't think she's a game changer, you're a fucking complete idiot. Sasha Banks, if she wants to wrestle, I don't know what Mercedes wants to do. If she wants to wrestle, it will be in AEW, and she will be All Elite. That is if she wants to wrestle. She's not going to Japan. She's gonna, she might go to Japan and do what she wants to do there, but she's not staying there full time. If she's going to wrestle, it's going to be here in the States, and it's going to be with AEW. She can do whatever she wants. She wants to wrestle for AEW, she could. She wants to go to Hollywood, she could. She wants to go to Stardom and wrestle in Japan, she could do that. She could do whatever the fuck she wants. Wherever she goes, she is going to be an absolute fucking game-changing asset to any promotion that is willing to pay her what she's worth. So we will keep an eye on this. It's not finalized. There is a legal agreement there. WWE and her lawyers are waiting to finalize on both sides here, and Sasha Banks will be done. What happens next? It's going to be very interesting, man. I said WWE is not going to let her go until they want to let her go. That's what's going to happen here. It's going to be a situation where when it's announced, the internet's going to fucking implode. And I can't wait to see what happens, because I don't want her back there. They don't want her. They don't care about her. They don't appreciate her. And she knows that. If there's any time to leave WWE, it is now for Mercedes. And finally, guys, Booker T. Booker T caused quite the shitstorm on social media, and he claimed that Adam Cole needs to gain more weight and get more muscle on him. He then took to his podcast yesterday to claim that everybody in the internet wrestling community was taking his words out of context and then clickbaiting for views on their end based off what he said. Booker T says he likes Adam Cole and blames the internet for using his words as clickbait. Adam Page ripped into Booker T for Adam Cole's body-shaming comments. Booker T has clarified some of his comments in regards to Adam Cole after receiving fan backlash. As previously reported, Booker T, on his Hall of Fame podcast, said, "We got to get more muscle on Adam Cole." He added he thinks that Cole's frame was a factor behind the injuries in his career. Hangman Adam Page recently ripped Booker T for his take, which I'll get to in a second. On the latest edition of the Booker T Hall of Fame podcast, he addressed this backlash in the IWC and wanted to clarify what he meant. He says, and I quote, "I like Adam Cole. I think it would be too far to say we're friends, but I am a fan of Adam Cole. I think people want to make it seem like I'm hating on an AEW guy. I'm not. Sure, T. Sure, Booker T. You're not hitting on an AEW guy." Meanwhile, I'll get to what he said about Sasha Banks in a second. If I didn't like Adam Cole, I wouldn't be saying that we need to get some muscle on him. I'd be saying a whole lot worse than that, as opposed to trying to advocate how we could make Adam Cole look better. I think I would be saying a whole lot worse if I was trying to downplay Adam Cole. That's what the internet does, man. They take anything that I say and try to make it clickbait like I criticized Adam Cole. Well, Booker T, maybe you should shut your fucking mouth and not say anything at all, because your fucking pro wrestling opinion is as worthless as anybody else that I've ever seen in recent memory. And there are a bunch of fucking irrelevant, nonsensical, fucking stupid opinions in the IWC. Adam Page took to Twitter and he ripped Booker T for what he said about Adam Cole, saying, and I quote, "I just hope when I'm old and I am retired, I don't lower myself to some shit-ass podcast where I trash the younger generation that's just chasing the same fortune wrestling has afforded me," end quote. Now, Booker T, he actually went on social media again and his podcast again and said something about Sasha Banks. This time he shilled Sasha Banks is not somebody that should go to AEW. Sasha Banks should not go to AEW. He says, "I am really not sure if AEW is the place for Sasha Banks. After Sasha goes and works with Britt Baker, where does she go from there? I'm not throwing any shade on Thunder Rosa or Nyla Rose or any of those other girls, but that's not a place where she should end up going," end quote. So he's not throwing shade on Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose, but he really is, because he said after a feud with Britt Baker, there really isn't anything for Sasha Banks to do in AEW. What about Sasha versus Jade Cargill? What about Sasha Banks versus Chris Statlander? What about Sasha Banks versus Mercedes Martinez? What about Sasha Banks versus Riho? What about Sasha Banks versus Serena Deeb? What about Sasha Banks versus Hikaru Shida? What about Sasha Banks versus Ruby Soho? What about Sasha Banks versus Toni Storm? What about Sasha Banks versus Athena? What about Sasha Banks versus, I don't know who Tony Khan is going to bring in. Maybe a Dakota Kai, maybe a Candice LeRae. Booker T is a fucking imbecile who's got the IQ of a fucking plastic straw. This guy sucks. I don't know why anybody takes his opinion to be serious. And Jesse and I talked about this in regards to Disco Inferno and Eric Bischoff. These are old-time podcasters, old-time fucking pro wrestling entities who don't really understand the current generation and the current market of pro wrestling. What they know is what they were ingrained in the 80s and the 90s. So they're going to look down upon everything that is now 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, because they don't really understand it. Wrestling back then in their day was at the height of its fucking popularity. It's nowhere even close to anywhere it was in the 80s and the 90s. So when everybody like an Eric Bischoff and a Disco Inferno and all these fucking geeks, Conan, these fucking half-ass fucking nimrods in the community, they talk about all this other shit, they're always comparing it to the WWE. They're always comparing it to how much money the WWE's making. Oh, AEW sucks. Their ratings are going down. Meanwhile, nobody brings up the fact that WWE's audience has dwindled to next to nothing since 2015, 2016. Go look at what the ratings were for Monday Night Raw back in 2015. Just this past Memorial Day, Monday Night Raw drew one of the worst ratings of all time for Monday Night Raw in 30 fucking years. Look at what they drew on Memorial Day in 2015, and please ask yourself, where did everybody go? Where did all these fans go? They're always comparing it to what they did in their time and in their era. Meanwhile, they don't really appreciate anything that's going on now because they're always going to sit there and think what they did was better than everything. Fine. What the fuck are you doing in the industry? What are you doing here? If you don't like it, I'm going to tell you exactly what everybody tells me every day when I watch Monday Night Raw and complain how fucking terrible it is. If you don't like it, don't watch. If you don't like it, what the fuck you talking about it? Go start a fucking gardening podcast or fucking a beer podcast or a fucking movie podcast. What are you doing talking pro wrestling if you don't appreciate anything that's going on right now? It's so fucking ridiculous. Booker T is an idiot. Booker T is an idiot. What he said is what he said. I don't really get the body shaming of Adam Cole. Adam Cole doesn't look any different to me. If I remember, I'm going to throw up a fucking picture of Adam Cole in NXT and Adam Cole now in AEW. Can you guys tell the difference? If there is a difference, it's very minuscule. I can't tell the fucking difference. So why is Adam Cole all of a sudden being body shamed by everybody in the community and by Booker T? Adam Cole does nothing to anybody, man. He sleeps with Britt Baker every night. That causes jealousy amongst the incels in the IWC. He's one of the nicest guys that I heard is around in the industry today. He's genuine. Everybody loves him. He's one of the nicest guys out there. He's one of the best pro wrestlers on the fucking planet. He should have been a WrestleMania main event guy for decades to come. And everybody wants to shit on. Everybody wants to shit on. He wants to do what he does at the fucking level he does. He wants to go home. He wants to play his video games. He wants to enjoy his life. The guy's happy. The guy's happy. And everybody seems to be cutting him down at every which way, which I don't understand. These are people that hate their life. These are people that hate their life. If you are actively out there hating all of a sudden on Adam Cole, I don't understand your fucking gripe here, man. Where I would love for Booker T to reference Adam Cole and him not having any muscle when he was in NXT. You didn't hear a fucking peep. So if Booker T can dig up that fucking podcast where he referenced Adam Cole being a WWE employee, not having any muscle while he was the NXT champion, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that. Everybody's like, oh, wrestling is a very aesthetic, industry. It's a very body-centric industry. Fine. Adam Cole is as good as anybody else that came before him that was his size. CM Punk and Bryan Danielson never had to deal with this, right? When they were in the height of the smaller guys in WWE being pushed? How come nobody claimed anything about that? How come nobody said anything about Bryan and CM Punk's body size and body type? Meanwhile, we're all getting on Adam Cole now. And you guys know what I'm talking about. That one clip that was on Being the Elite that gets floated around on social media that is referenced by everybody. Does he look like that when you see him on television? Not one of these people ever fucking complained about Adam Cole and what he looked like in NXT, which is fucking comical because the only reason why he's being criticized and now body shamed and fucking being negatively talked about is because he is AEW. But nobody ever referenced what he looked like in NXT because it wasn't a problem then because he was a WWE guy. And nobody references if he was still in WWE. I'd love to see fucking people. I would love to see these same people complain if he was still in WWE. They probably would have shaved his hair. He probably would have looked a lot worse than what you think he looks like now. He probably wouldn't even be going by the name of Adam Cole. He'd be somebody's bitch. He'd probably be running around with Drew Gulak for the 24/7 championship. Meanwhile, all you fucking people want to do is complain about his body type. Sure, Britt Baker has no fucking problem with his body type. That's the only thing that fucking matters, man. Adam Cole looks fine, and Adam Cole is one of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. And everybody that came before him, I would put in discussion that everybody that came before him that is the same body type as Adam Cole, he may be better than everybody else that came before him. So what's the problem? What is the problem? WWE is no main event guys, and they let somebody walk who is a main event guy in Adam Cole. That's my take on Adam Cole. Shut the fuck up. That's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed today's video, let me know what you guys think down below with a comment. Hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. And go check out all the other content on the channel right now on the homepage. If you missed any of it, tons of it to get caught up on. Guys, I'll see you live with Jesse on Wednesday night. And I'm going to start preparing to come to Chicago, man. I'll be in Chicago on Sunday. Meet and greet at the Ogden in Chicago. 5-6 minute walk from the United Center. And we should be good to go, man. We're going to party and we're going to rock and roll in Chicago for this Sunday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys back here live tomorrow for the go-home show of AEW Dynamite on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.